So you put me in anything, and I'm going to put my best foot forward to make sure I do my best, whatever that is. Like, I'm not walking away from anything feeling like I didn't give it my 100%. It could be loading the dishwasher. That's just my nature. And if I don't know how to do it, I will not do it. But I think it started really young. And when I went in for the Miss India pageant, it was the first time I was modeling, walking toe to toe with all of these models that had had that experience. I was like 17, 18. So it was a massive transformational change for a young girl from a really small town, not knowing what the industry was like, and suddenly to be in the limelight. I learned quick. I had to grow up quick because it was pageants, you were not supposed to make any mistakes, right? You're supposed to be presented perfectly and eloquent and well spoken. So I just immediately focused on trying to be that best version. And everyone around me was like that. Polished is what it was called, polished. So yeah, I grew up really quick and I learned how to fake it till you make it at that time.
Mm.
You both have been in this industry long enough to know sometimes when you have to walk into a room, that's tough. You have to give yourself that talk and say,
Mm.
either people will see you or you will be invisible. And both are fine. What side of the room do you want to be in?
I'm Jill Demling, and this is Going Rogue. Before I introduce today's guest, I want to thank you for supporting this podcast. This is my 38th guest and the final episode of Season 1. Season 2 launches this spring with an expanded format. Conversations with dream teams and creative collaborators, and celebrities I cast for Vogue, including Elle Fanning and Eddie Redmayne. In the meantime, video versions of my episodes are rolling out weekly on YouTube. And now today's guest, Priyanka Chopra Jonas. You know her from Quantico, Baywatch, and Citadel, and of course, her 2017 Met Gala moment in that Ralph Lauren trench gown that today's co-host, Edward Barsamian, famously described as requiring 2 assistants, 1 bus, and a Jonas brother. But it wasn't always this way. In this conversation, Priyanka takes us back to 2013, to her decision to leave not just fame and financial success, but comfort, to expand her reach, her repertoire, and her horizons in Hollywood. What she found wasn't expansion, it was reintroduction, square one. She said, to restart your career in your 30s is terrifying. I was secure, I was doing well financially, I was established, and I chose to blow it up. But did she really blow it up? Today, she's the first Indian woman to lead an American network television series, a global franchise star, executive producer, author, UNICEF ambassador, and the first South Asian actress on the cover of both American and British Vogue, 2 of her 15 Vogue covers, with 5 Met Gala red carpets to match. It seems to me she didn't blow it up. She built it bigger. She now stands as the only proven star who meaningfully straddles 2 of the biggest entertainment industries on earth, Hollywood and Bollywood. Not as a novelty, not as a guest, but as a sustained, bankable presence in both. As Priyanka says, I don't believe in hope. I believe in taking charge of your life. And that she did. So put on your red lipstick and cue the Bollywood soundtrack as Priyanka Chopra Jonas goes rogue. To see the images we discussed today, head to our Instagram at goingrogue.podcast or visit our website, goingroguepodcast.com. And if you enjoyed this conversation, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Hello, Gorge.
How are you?
How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm in my
Amazing.
pirate core.
I love it.
Phenomenal.
So we'll jump in because we know you don't have a lot of time. And just to let you know, I'm a script reader because
Well, do what you have to. I just wanted to be
Edward,
here to support you, to
yes, and I
make sure
appreciate
that,
it. I
of course,
appreciate it.
anytime, babe. You did it for me. I don't forget it either. We got to do it for
Okay.
each other. It's going to be great. Just we'll have a good time. It'll be a chat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can I dive right in?
You
Amazing.
dive right in.
Fabulous. So I was at the screening on Tuesday. You looked amazing. I love that you're having fun with this tour. Talk to me about leaning into Pirate Core for this junket.
I'm not a believer that every movie needs like a sort of method dress, or every press tour needs, I think a point of view is just fun to have. I think, fashion is fun. I've always used it as a way to express myself. And what's not to love about pirate core? Like, if there's a movie that you should method dress for, it's probably Pirate. I was just having fun with it. There were so many like amazing outfits that Wayman and Micah pulled, and I was just like, I want to wear all of them. Yeah, I loved it. I had a good time with it.
The breastplate from the actual film and the Who Decides War skirt was sick. How did
Oh,
that all come
yay.
together?
Sick.
The first time I wore the breastplate, it required like so many fittings because it was customized to my body. And it took about 3 months and many different iterations for it to be finalized. It was handcrafted by Australian artisans. So it was just very special. So the first time I wore it, I was just like, there's so many people whose hands have touched this and made this piece of art for this incredible movie in the 19th century. And I said it to Antoinette Messam, who's our amazing costume designer. I told her, I was like, I would love to be able to figure out a way to wear it for a red carpet. And she was like, this is armor for a warrior. I was like, yeah, exactly. It'll be so fun. So, Who Decides War are New York designers who are of Caribbean descent and heritage. And this movie is an homage to the Caribbean islands and the diversity in it and, that time. So it just came together, and the dress was just feminine enough. It was the right amount of feminine with the frills and the legs to offset the breastplate. The one thing we did do last minute though was the breastplate wasn't polished. It was like grimy and dusty, and because that's the look we wanted in the
And you're
movie.
fighting with it on.
Yes,
That
and you have like
scene is
scars
insane. Yeah,
in
that
that fighting
scene.
scene. You have like
Yes.
scars from Carl's swords on
Yeah.
on my breastplate still. But we did polish it. We gave it a good little boot polish before the red carpet.
I love it. And I love how thoughtful you are with your approach to carpet dressing and just dressing in general. And we'll touch on that later. I'm going to pass it back over to Jill.
Okay, so let's get started on the meat of the interview. So, in my pre recorded intro, I covered the broad arc of your career: activism, philanthropy, production, the headlines. But today is about the through line. And because you're in the middle of a press tour for the Bluff and generously making time for us, Edward and I are going to move fast. We're splitting this conversation based on our instincts and obsessions, fashion and film. We'll take turns setting up chapters of your story for the listener, then hand it to you with clusters of questions so you can take it wherever you want. And I want to start where everything starts, not with fame, but with discipline. So I call this Priyanka's Principles. Before we rewind to how it all started, I want to share what I call Priyanka's Principles. These are things you've said over the years that I think tell us exactly how your brain works. Throughout this conversation, Edward and I are going to open each chapter with one of your quotes. But first, here are a few of our favorites. I don't believe in hope. I believe in taking charge of your life. Fail, fail, fail again, and then rise like a phoenix. Own your choices. Have the courage of conviction. I know I'm flawed, but perfect is boring anyway. Flawed is good. Movement is evolution. Evolution is growth. Growth is change, and change is constant. Start taking action now, even taking small little steps. Don't let fear decide your future. I taught myself confidence. I learned it's what you do after failure that makes you a success. The last one stopped me. You've said you taught yourself confidence. That means it wasn't handed to you. It wasn't innate. So let's go back. How does someone teach themselves confidence? And what did it feel like before you learned it?
Oh my gosh. Hearing you read all of those quotes, I can't help but reflect on the different women I was and different times that I said those things in my 25-year career. I started when I was 17. And like I can hear my younger self in a few of those
I
quotes, which
know.
I may or may not articulate my feelings in that way anymore. But it was introspective. So thank you for that quick journey into my life.
Yeah, we'll bring them up throughout
God,
with young
okay.
Priyanka because I see that too.
Yeah.
Having done research, I see where the quotes almost fall. It was
Yeah.
really interesting. But the confidence to learn
The
that,
confidence thing, I really believe it starts with parenting. And I think that I carry with myself my mom and my father. It was really important to them that I had agency in my decisions. So that I had choices and my opinions mattered. And I was shown that, I was told that. I tell this story I want to tell you guys because I don't think we've ever talked about it. But when I was really young, kindergarten maybe, my parents were both in the military, and we move homes every 2 years in the military. This was in India. So all the officers outside of their homes have like a nameplate which says whoever is living there. So it said on the nameplate at the entrance of our home, Lieutenant Colonel Ashok Chopra, Major Madhu Chopra. My dad was putting it up, and we'd just moved into this new house. And I said, "Why isn't my name up there? Don't I live here as well?" And this is kindergarten.
wow.
And the next day, there was a nameplate with my name on it. And we have sections in India because there's so many kids usually that go to the same school. So we have kindergarten A, kindergarten B, kindergarten C. Mine was kindergarten C. So it said for my father, it said MBBS and whatever his, MD and all of their medical jargon
Yeah.
things. And for me, it said kindergarten C.
Oh my God.
So that's
Well,
what I mean. Like
yeah.
when your parents from the very beginning don't treat you like you're the other or you're a child or you're silly, any questions that were asked in the home, any decisions about my life was usually a conversation with me at a very young age. So I learned that I deserved to have a sense of self. And now, as a parent of a younger kid, I'm very conscientious of, giving her agency and having her feel that it's her life and she has control of it.
Yes. Well, let's get into your parents because they're incredible. So, how it started. Discipline was a really big part of our growing up. Your word is your bond. To understand where that discipline and that self taught confidence comes from, we have to go back. You grew up in a military family, both parents doctors in the Indian Army, constant relocation, early independence, discipline. On weekends, your parents took you and your brother in a borrowed ambulance to poor villages to provide free medical care. You've said those missions really shaped your brain and way of thinking forever. That's where you saw firsthand the limitations placed on women and girls, and where you vowed to help change that. You were sent to boarding school at 7. At 12, you came to the U.S., living in New York, Indianapolis, and eventually Newton, Massachusetts, where you experienced extreme racism at school. Because of the relentless bullying, you've said, I went into a shell. I just wanted to be invisible. My confidence was stripped. You tried to ignore it. You asked for help. Nothing changed. At 17, you made the decision to, quote, break up with America and go home to India. And you've said, in America, I was trying not to be different. I was trying to fit in and I wanted to be invisible. When I went to India, I chose to be different. You caught up in school, got back on stage, and most importantly, you healed. You rebuilt your confidence on your terms. So we'll stop there. So when you look back at those years, the weekend missions, losing your confidence in the U.S., choosing to reclaim it, how did that shape the woman you became? And now, as a mother, how does it shape how you're raising your daughter?
These are all thoughts, Jill, that you can only have in introspection, or in retrospect. While I was going through it, I don't think I was thinking that I'm going to get back and I'm going to prove a point or have a chip on my shoulder or anything like that. I think when you're going through anything in life, you're just trying to kind of survive and keep your head above water. And I just kept my head in the game at that time. But I think you were reading an excerpt from my memoir, I
Mm-hmm.
think. So I remember this was during COVID. That's when I was writing the book. I spent a lot of time thinking about my journey and my
Mm.
choices and what it meant to look at it from the lens of where I am right now. And at like 16, when I moved back from the US to India, I took a lot of what I learned in America as well. I felt I was very global. I felt I had perspective from so many different countries before I was even 18. I had traveled the world. I felt sense of independence. The constant moving had always taught me anyway to be um, flexible, adjust, and accommodate. But my independence taught me to hold my own. So it was a really wonderful, like again, in retrospect,
Yes.
things that you learn and the life lessons that you learn as life happens. So when I came back to America, I remember bringing back that familiarity with me when I started working here in my 30s of what I knew about the country. And now I think I'm an amalgamation of my first and second homes, which are India and the States. And both have contributed so much to me in my life. My daughter's American, my
Yeah.
husband's American, my mom's Indian. So I'm just like I'm a mix of both. And I feel like that's such a strength for me to have that multicultural family and approach towards everything in life.
Absolutely. So, Edward.
I'd love to talk more about that return to India. So, beauty pageants, Bollywood, you've said, be happy with being you. Love your flaws, own your quirks, and know that you are just as perfect as anyone else, exactly as you are. You entered pageants by accident. Your brother hatched an elaborate plan that you've said, quote, gave me my career with the ulterior motive of getting his room back and roped your mother into sending your photos to the Miss India pageant. Thank God for family. Before Miss India, your mother gave you advice that still feels like a manifesto. Don't worry about how you look. Speak so they listen to you. Have something to say. You won Miss India, then Miss World in 2000 at 18, becoming the fifth Indian woman to do so and securing back to back victories for India. You've called that win a trampoline moment, the thing that launched everything. After Miss World, Bollywood came calling. Initially hesitant to enter an industry with no formal acting training, your father grounded you with words you still reference today. The more you talk, the less you will listen and the less you will learn. You made your Bollywood debut in 2003, won two National Film Awards, and by your late 20s, you were one of the highest paid actresses in India. So I'm going to stop here because I want to just dive right into the questions. Did your brother really find the ad for the Miss India competition in the newspaper? And is it true he made you enter because you taken over his bedroom?
That's the story my mom and him tell. He was 10. So I don't know what the agenda was, but the facts were that I had these mall shots, those like soft focus,
Yeah.
like those pictures that every teenager had at that time. And I had those. And yes, my brother, he was 10 years old and he was kicked out of his room because at that time I was 16 and my dad was like, of course, a teenager. My dad was very like, oh, you need your space. So uh, he got the hallway between my parents' room and my mom tried to like pass it off as this is so much fun. You'll be closer to us. And put a bed in there and was like, you can use my bathroom now. Wow. And he was not falling for that. So I don't know how his 10-year-old brain saw this pageant. I don't know how those connections happened, but there was a conversation to be had, and my brother was very excited about me participating in this pageant. And I didn't understand his sudden interest in me
Yeah.
at all because he wasn't happy about me coming back home. But yeah, the pictures got sent in. I was called in, and I'm competitive. So you put me in anything, and I'm going to put my best foot forward to make sure I do my best, whatever that is. Like, I'm not walking away from anything feeling like I didn't give it my 100%. It could be painting the wall, it
Right.
could be loading the dishwasher. That's just my nature. And if I don't know how to do it, I will not do it. I don't know why, like, I can't cook. So I just won't do it. I literally begged for people to cook for me,
Yeah. It's
or
if
I'll
you
have a
don't play the
sandwich.
game, if you don't play the game, you can't lose.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just
That's
like,
what I
I
think.
don't even know how to do it. Let's not try. But I think it started really young. And when I went in for the Miss India pageant, I'd never modeled before. It was the first time I was modeling, walking the runway, walking toe to toe with all of these models that had had that experience. And I was like 17, 18 from small town. So it was a massive transformational change for a young girl from a really small town, not knowing what the industry was like, and suddenly to be in the limelight. I learned quick. I had to grow up quick. I had to because it was pageants, you were not supposed to make any mistakes, right? You're supposed to be presented perfectly and eloquent and well spoken. So I just immediately focused on trying to be that best version, media trained, and everyone around me was like that. Polished is what it was called, polished. And the Miss World pageant, which the one that I was attending, is based in the UK. So it's like different from how America views their pageants as well, just culturally different as well. So yeah, I grew up really quick and I learned how to fake it till you make it at that time because that was the only way to not look like I was dying inside in front of millions of people. You both have been in this industry long enough to know sometimes when you have to walk into a room, that's tough. You have to give yourself that talk and say, you either belong in this room, either people will see you or you will be invisible. And both are fine. What what side of the room do you want to be in? And
I love
no wrong answers there.
That's awesome. And I love that. Just building off of that a little bit, I mean, both of your parents were doctors. What did they think about you entering this as you were at university at the time?
Yeah, my dad was not a fan. My mom was. My mom was very excited because I was like not doing really well in school. So she was like, she's gonna have no academic career, and so let's just do pageants. I think that was my mother's approach. It's like, let's just do pageants. Life would be easier for you. My dad, though, was not about it. My mom had to have a big chat with him. She took him out for dinner, and begrudgingly, he let me participate. After I won, I think then he saw the opportunity and was like, okay, now I see people are interested in creating opportunities for you, which could be a career move. But I remember when movies started coming to me, um, which is a natural progression for a lot of pageant queens or pageant girls in India. So you go from a beauty pageant, if you win one or if you have popularity in one, you immediately get the eyes of film producers who want to cast you in Bollywood movies. So once I was in the world, I kind of knew that that would be something that would maybe be part of my future. Um, but I didn't know. I was like, I'd have to quit school. If I do this movie, I won't be able to do them together. And I remember my dad sat me down and said to me that I'd never want you to have a what if in your life. You're 18 years old. If you stay in school and you say no and you don't do this thing, your whole life, you're just going to be like, but what if I had tried it? Could it have been different? He's like, give it a shot for a year and you'll still just be 19. And if you don't like it, you can go back to school. It just took the pressure off of me. Because my younger self was like, this is a big motion picture I'm being cast for. I have no idea what it takes. So that just took the pressure off of me and I could focus on learning the job, which I learned on the job.
That's awesome. And I do have Bollywood questions. Just one Miss World question. You said when you won Miss World, you were deliberately doing a namaste to hold up your dress. What are some other clothing or style hacks you've come up with on the fly? Because I thought that was genius.
Um, Chewing gum to hold my shirt together, just for the carpet, because it doesn't last long term. So if anybody's thinking of doing it for a party, it's not going to work. But like for a quick photo moment when you're getting out of your car and going in, my shirt was separating and I just put some gum in it and it held it together.
I love you so much.
Little band-aids. Oh, if you have band-aids and you need double-sided tape, just make it into a circle
Oh my God.
and
That's a
then
good one.
you can
That's a
use
good
it.
one.
One film from your Bollywood career that stood out to me is the movie Fashion, obviously, where
Obviously. Surprise, surprise.
you wore 110 outfits. Okay, two questions. What was your relationship with fashion at that time? And more importantly, did you take any of those pieces with you and do you still have them?
It's one of my biggest regrets in my life. Like a lot of my co-actor friends, after a 25-year career, have archives of stuff from like their iconic movies, even if it's like little things, like prop or whatever, like little things. I don't know. I never took anything. I think I was always on the move so much. I never had a permanent home. Like I just used to give stuff to my mom. So she has an archive of like my whole career, but I just never had a place. So no, the answer is no, I did not take anything from fashion. I should have, because I wore some really cool pieces. But at the same time, my relationship with fashion at that time was really interesting. I didn't know much of it. I wasn't really a fashion girly. I didn't know the big brands. I didn't know even the Indian designers for that matter very well. I wasn't familiar. I didn't grow up knowing or having any form of relationship with fashion, but I did have a relationship with style. I
Mm.
loved dressing myself. I did not know labels, but I knew silhouettes. I knew what worked on me. I loved themes, as you can tell. In the 90s in high school, like, oh, I was that quintessential 90s girl with my flared jeans and um, pierced belly button and
Yep.
crop tops and all
Yep.
that. Yep,
Yep.
you
Pierced
know.
belly button. Yep.
Oh my
There's
God.
belly button girlies. Get your hands
Yep.
up in the air.
Yep.
We exist. And now it's coming back.
Self pierced. I did it to myself in
I
college.
self-pierced. I re-pierced mine
My
myself at the
dad
back of
had
a
to.
cab.
My dad had to re-pierce because he was a doctor with a suture with a, yeah.
You guys are giving me such agita right now with the self-piercing. You have no idea. Oh my God. Um,
That's what we
I
used to do. We had to
Yeah.
do that back
Yeah.
then.
It's crazy. We're going to talk more about style coming up, but I'm going to hand it off to Jill to talk about the US and our first meeting at Vogue.
Oh my
Yes.
God, yes.
So this is the road to Vogue. Start taking action now, even taking small little steps. Don't let fear decide your future. In 2013, at 30, you were one of the highest paid actresses in India, 2 National Film Awards, multiple Vogue India covers, financially secure, established, and you chose to blow it up. You said recently in Variety, a quote that went viral, by the way, to restart your career in your 30s is terrifying. I was secure, I was doing well financially, I was established, and I chose to blow it up. You've always said you wanted borderless entertainment, to cross pollinate, to work across industries. But when you walked into meetings in Hollywood, people would say, "Oh, you speak English well." Then Quantico happened. And what I love about your ABC meeting is this: you didn't ask to represent, you asked to act. You said, I don't want my ethnicity to lead the part that I play. I want to have a job. I want to have a plot. I want to have a story. You became the first Indian woman to lead an American network show. So before we get to our first meeting at Vogue, take us back to those early days in LA. You were one of the most famous women in India, and suddenly you were anonymous in Los Angeles. What did it feel like on the ground?
It was strange, I have to say. Not because, just because I'm famous in one country, I expect like paparazzi to be following me wherever in the world I go. I never had that kind of entitlement. But because I was seeking work in LA. If it was just for vacation, if I was visiting America, like it wouldn't matter. But because I was seeking work in America and I couldn't showcase my filmography because Bollywood had such a specific box that actors were put into if you led with that. Like I remember an agent of mine saying to somebody that, they thought they were selling me and
Mm.
speaking about me and but they were like, she's a Bollywood actress, but she's so good. She's so much better. Like,
Oh
and I remember
my God.
standing behind them and feeling really small and really angry for the fact that this person had diminished an entire industry
Mm.
to an apology. And in those early days, that was one thing that really helped me was I wasn't new. I wasn't green. I know my job. I know my craft. So I can stand shoulder to shoulder with actors from around the world. I can be directed by the biggest filmmakers in the world because I know what it requires and what they're expecting when I come to set. I know my lines, I know my job, I know where to stand, I know what my character's wearing, I know my motivation. Like I know how to do my job. So that's all I focused on. I didn't focus on whether people had familiarity or not. I started from zero. I wanted to build my foundation. I took meetings with everyone. I auditioned for whatever I was interested in because I did not want to be stereotyped right at the
Right.
beginning. I did not want to be the diversity check, which was a lot of scripts that came to me were, you can read it and you're like, okay, I'm the brown girl in the movie because they need diversity. And then there are those movies like The Bluff now, which I had to produce eventually and work with amazing allies. Um, to be able to get a part which is not just the diversity check. And Quantico was that for me. And
Yeah.
I've had some wonderful, like with Citadel, some wonderful opportunities in my English language work. But in those early days, I started with just walking into meetings, taking meetings, familiarizing people with my work, my quest, what I wanted to do. I allowed myself to dream big in spite of not knowing whether I would be able to crack it or not. There have been Indian actors prior to me who've worked in Hollywood and I stand on their shoulders, absolutely. But the way I wanted to do it was just with longevity, with power. I didn't want to be a novelty. Those were big goals, and I felt like I didn't have this or that. I didn't have Hollywood or Bollywood for a really long time. I felt stuck in the middle. I felt like I was giving up because I had to spend a lot more time in Los Angeles, so I couldn't do as much work back home
Right.
as much as So all of it was a big gamble. Um, but instead of taking the pressure of it, I think I just put my head down and went to work.
I will say, just before we move on, that The Bluff, you do not see ethnicity.
Yeah.
It was so character driven that I didn't even think about that.
It's so cool. It's so important because this movie has ethnicities from everywhere. We have all kinds of different people because the Caribbean's history
Yeah.
is people from all over the world. And obviously, Temura and Carl's characters are from New Zealand, but they're based in England. And then me, just so many different, Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
so many different kinds of faces. And I love that you say that is because, it was character first, but
Yeah.
it required a director who did think about ethnicity and did think about wanting to make a movie that looked like the world does, besides just a specific kind of people.
Right.
And I think that's important. I use these words carefully because there are a lot of dreams set on being able to have a world where it's merit based, but there are no biases, which is hard.
Right.
Like it'll be a hard one to achieve for every industry, for every field,
Right.
just because of human nature. And you can see the world where it's at.
Yeah.
How it's hard for us to tolerate differences. We're not a society that is curious. We're careful now. And
Right.
that's sad. But I think fighting for having representation really matters, but being able to get out of the diversity check
Right.
box
Exactly.
is hard.
Yep. And we're going to get to representation. But first, the Vogue years. My dad always said, don't fit into the glass slipper like Cinderella did. Shatter the glass ceiling. Be whoever you want. And that leads me to our first meeting. It's 2016. Quantico has become the #1 new drama on ABC. You're the first South Asian to win a People's Choice Award for Favorite Dramatic TV Actress, and you've moved to New York City to film season 2. You come into Vogue for a meet and greet. This wasn't a cover meeting. This was a meeting to simply get you in the magazine anywhere. I'll be honest, I hadn't even seen Quantico before you walked in, but your energy, your story, your presence in that room, I never forgot it. Edward and I were texting recently trying to piece together the timeline, the Golden Globes bridging the gap, the cover. And I wrote, we basically met her and went to work. And Edward wrote back immediately. We had her come in, and then because of her vibe, it just clicked. I cannot imagine what it must have felt like walking into American magazines and essentially introducing yourself all over again. So let me ask you this. Do you remember when you first discovered Vogue? What did it represent to you? When you got your first India Vogue cover in 2007, did it feel like you'd made it? And then what was it like walking into American magazines where nobody knew your name, even though you were already a legitimate cover woman in India?
Well, I have to say that at least when I walked into Vogue America's office after pursuing you guys for a while, um, at least you took a meeting with me. There was another magazine that you yourself took a meeting with me. There was another magazine I was on their cover, like I think 4 times in India, and they would not take that meeting with me. And I remember this one intern, and bless her soul, she probably felt bad or something. She met me in the cafeteria representing this giant magazine with my manager, and my manager was mortified, and she was like, Pri, we've got to go. I can't do this. This is not the... And I was like, no, it's fine. She took the time to come downstairs and have a cup of coffee with me. We'll do the meeting and it's okay. It's fine. But at least you yourself took that meeting with me. So there's kudos to you. And thank you for fighting for me. It requires allies wherever in the world you go. I remember, Edward, you were one of my first friends when I came to New York and us hanging out, and you both at my Diwali party. It was so much fun. It was all so new to me. I remember hearing of Vogue early in my life, around, I may have been 9 or 10. My mom was a big fashion girly. She was a 70s kid, so she was a little bit of, Elvis fan, rock and roll. She loved the Doors, and she'd have those big go-go glasses and flared jeans and shirts with the big collars. So my mom would like just reference Vogue. We never got it in India, but she would just reference Vogue when she spoke about it. So I knew of this like fancy magazine. But when I came to America at 12, Teen Vogue was where it was at for me.
Right.
That's where I got all my info. So it was the pinnacle, I guess, of being seen as someone who was, I wouldn't say just beautiful, I would say special.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow you felt special associated with Vogue more than anyone else. If you were on the cover of it, there was something special about you. And of course, you were beautiful and you have an X factor or something. Yeah, it was cool to have had that reception from y'all.
Amazing. American Vogue and representation. Movement is evolution, evolution is growth, growth is change, and change is constant. January 2019, you become the first Indian woman on the cover of American Vogue in the magazine's 126-year history. I fought for that cover. I believed it was time. I believed you had earned it. Preparing for today, I pulled every American Vogue cover from 1997 through January 2019. I have it. It's a sea of white. It's a sea of white. Not one Indian woman in the 22 years. That is not a record to be proud of. That is a record to reckon with. And it's not just American Vogue. This month, British Vogue celebrated what they called the first Indian model on their cover. Edward Enninful styled Saffron in December 2018, then Malala in July 2021, then you, the first Indian actress on that cover, in February 2023. Earlier this season, I asked Gabriella Karifa Johnson on, the first Black woman to style a cover of American Vogue, what it felt like to be first, and what she said has never left me. It wasn't a feat as though I achieved it. It was that I was alone in this discussion, and it ended up being really sad for me to consider the fact that I could be a trailblazer in anything. It's the year 2020. What do you mean? How are there still firsts to be done? When your cover came out, what did it feel like? Triumph, responsibility, frustration, or all of it? And do you ever feel what Gabriella described, that there's something bittersweet about still being the first?
I resonate with Gabriella in everything she said because I remember when I was filming Quantico and it was everywhere that I was the first South Asian, first South Asian. First of all, South Asian means you're clubbing a bunch of countries together anyway.
Right.
Okay. It's not even like first Indian. We're just like bunch of, and South Asia. I've used the word, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I've used it many times. I'm just trying to understand the psychology of it. And I've grappled with it myself. about what that means. And even though there is a power to the collective of South Asians where we are very similar and we have similar values and similar beliefs, similar food, similar cultures. So there is a value in us together. But there's also many countries that comprise of South Asia, almost like 9. So that was one where you feel sort of like an identity thing. And then it is very bittersweet. And I remember feeling this. I was like, this is 2016, I think, that when my show came out. And I said, how am I the first? And as it was a personal achievement for me to be cast as number 1 in that show, to be the lead of that show forever. It was a personal achievement for me, but I couldn't feel tremendous joy in it because of how isolating that position is, where you're like, there should be so many more people on this list. We're in 2016.
Right.
My mom said this to me. She's like, just allow yourself to receive and feel your achievements and your accomplishment, because everyone stands on the shoulders of someone. And I will never forget that. And I always remembered it. All those actors that came prior to me of Indian descent who had to do those stereotypical parts because those were the only parts available for people who are of Indian descent in Hollywood. Like, I stand on their shoulders. To be able to have even, for you to have some legs to be able to fight for me. When you went to fight for me to be the first Indian woman on the cover of American Vogue, you had something that you could stand on with Quantico. But that was because of all of those actors that did what they did. So we're all trying to push the envelope. So I think Gabriella is very right.
Yeah, and you've always said that. You've always given credit to those before, even with the signing at CAA, which was covered in Hollywood
Huge,
Reporter.
yeah.
And you reference that all the time. And it's a strange thing because saying South Asian, they think you're even it's
bigger.
Right. So that's the two sides.
Like, you're the one of so many
not
more
just
people.
India, but and that's why this
and
whole
I understand
thing,
that too. I'm like, it's almost like more than just Indian, but at the same time, it's like 10 different countries are not one identity. Yes, I understand that from a Western lens, the nuances might be hard to decipher and discern. I understand that as someone who's lived in many countries my whole life. It's not easy for anyone. If you move to India tomorrow, it'll be hard for you to understand those nuances. So I get that, but I think taking the time to understand different cultures, different people and their backgrounds outside of what you're familiar with I think that's a step in the right direction for our generation.
Exactly. All right, Edward, the fun stuff.
I was about to say, I get to ask you the fun stuff about style. All right, so from the 2017 Golden Globes and Custom Ralph Lauren to that iconic Met Gala trench dress also from Ralph to Valentino, Dior, and Bulgari, you've developed quite a fashionable point of view very quickly. You've never played it safe. You don't repeat yourself. So, what was your first thought when you entered the Vogue office, and how many outfits did you go through before selecting what you ended up wearing?
For the cover?
The first time you came in to meet with us at American Vogue.
Oh, for what I wore? Man, I did not want to overthink that, because if you were going to judge me on what I wore, I don't think we would be having that meeting. So I just let the stylists, as usual, they're the experts. I was like, tell me what you think would work. Somebody brought me a couple of options. I always try to wear what I feel my best in that day, because then I am my best. And like you said, Jill, it's the person that you met that day that made you fight for me versus what I wore. Do you remember what I wore?
Black top jeans.
You remember it.
Of course.
But Jill didn't remember it. That's what I mean. Like what resonated to you was not that. But yeah, the black top and jeans. Imagine like how generic it was. I was like,
it fit you flawlessly.
I'm just gonna go in with simple.
It was very
badass.
Simple. It was badass cool. That's
exactly
just like you.
I was doing Quantico that time.
Exactly. So now we're together, we're at the Golden Globes, and this was really kind of that start of your fashion relationship with the house. What does the brand mean to you, and what did it mean to you to be working with such a powerhouse brand like a Ralph Lauren at that time?
I just had the most amazing relationship with the atelier and everyone in it. In fact, I met Ralph much later. I hadn't met him myself for at least a couple of years, but what the atelier, Andrew, the tailors, Sylvie, like everyone, from the first time that I wore the dress, I was styled by Christina Elrich. She was amazing and had an amazing relationship with Ralph Lauren and brought me in to be a part of their clientele and a friend of the brand. And from the first time that I was invited to go to the Met with them and wore that incredible trench dress, and it was made for me. And the faith that I have in that atelier is just because there are so many amazing people that have worked there for such a long time. Legacy of a brand doesn't just come from the brand name, it comes from the people who make it and who are working in the brand and believe in it, you know? And I love brands that have that kind of historic relationship with the people that build it. And I love that about Ralph Lauren. So I had so much trust in the artistry, in the tailoring, in the work that went into each outfit that I've been lucky enough to wear with them. It was just customized in the most beautiful way to my body. And what I also loved, which was Christina's idea, because I expressed, I was like, how am I supposed to spend the entire evening with this freaking train? What are you talking about? First of all, it's my first Met. I don't know anyone. And on top of that, I'm wearing like a 25-foot train and I have to sit for dinner and after party. And I was freaking out. And then they were like, don't worry about it. We'll just, cut off the train. So we didn't cut off the train. They actually made it detachable where I could detach it from underneath and it becomes a short mini dress, which worked perfectly. So, and we adapted that to now after that, I do that with every Met look. Like it
Hmm.
always changes as soon as I finish the carpet.
That's true. I did notice that. Do you still have that dress, by the way? The
No,
Ralph
no,
Lauren
it's
choice?
with it's in their
Their archive.
archive.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it
It's
went
safer
viral.
there.
Yeah, it went viral. That was the biggest
I have my
that I
wedding
can
dress in their
remember.
archive. I told them, you keep it there right now when I move into my house and I have like this space to, and that's when I'll bring it in. And they've kept it really nicely and safely
Wow.
there.
Well, I'm going to talk about the wedding dress in 1 second, but I guess you kind of touched on it a little bit. Like that first Met, you were the Met, right?
You were
Like
the
you
man.
owned the carpet
Wow.
and the after parties. Girl, please, you know. Um,
No, but it's
after
nice to hear from y'all. Like
No,
you guys are like the
it's
police
yeah,
of
it's you and
fashion
Rihanna's
police.
yeah, you and Rihanna's yellow dress. Those are the two that's
Oh,
Met history, right?
legit.
I don't remember
Um,
anyone else's.
After that, did you notice there was like a huge outpouring from the fashion community?
I wouldn't say huge, but definitely much more. In terms of relationship with the brands, I definitely think that first Met was kind of solidified my relationship with fashion internationally outside of India and especially in the States. So I think that's when I started sort of building my individual relationship with fashion houses and the people that I consistently worked with after.
Nice. You've worn couture and straight from the runway pret-a-porter. What do you feel most comfortable in?
I can wear anything, honestly, and I feel most comfortable in anything that makes me feel good. Like I can be ridiculously uncomfortable. Like I don't have to breathe if I want to get into an outfit. You can suck my waist in this tiny and I'll be fine. You can pull out ribs, it's fine. I'll be in 8-inch heels, 10-inch heels, I'm fine. But even after doing all of that, if I don't feel like if something is bothering me or if something's not right about it and I have to walk out,
Mhm.
I'm underconfident.
Yep.
And that's like the worst feeling. I'm comfortable in any kind of an outfit, but I have to feel my best. You know, you have to feel like you're
Mhm.
serving, even if I'm in jeans or sweats or my workout clothes, whatever it might be. I want to feel my best version. Um, and the only place where I'm not my best version of myself is probably at home, or in my most comfortable self. But like in my public life, I like
Yeah.
to feel confident, and I feel like I've used fashion in many ways to be able to achieve that.
You definitely have. Because you mentioned your wedding dress from Ralph, had you envisioned what your wedding dress would look like even as a child or way before?
Yes. I had, so we used to have these things called a fancy dress competition, which is basically a masquerade competition for kids. So like a Halloween costume competition, you dress as whatever. And it would happen in school. All the kids would come to school in a costume. And I always wanted to be a bride. And since I was like 4 years old. But my version of the bride was an Indian bride with a red lehenga and a red outfit. I'd never conceptually imagined a white gown for myself.
Wow.
So that was specific to marrying my husband. So I had to start thinking about what that looked like for me. And I tried many. I did a day with my besties and my mom, and we went and tried like a lot of different outfits with a few fashion houses. And Mimi Cottrell was styling me at that time, and she styled my wedding. And we had a great time just wearing these gorgeous dresses and trying them out and seeing what was out there. But then Ralph Lauren offered to want to do the whole wedding for us
Wow.
because it was because of them that Nick and I met, technically. We went to the Met Gala together for Ralph Lauren. We were on their table. We did not know each other at that time. I don't know why we decided to go together as two strangers who had just met like once. I still don't understand that. But we did, and they were such a big part of our love story that there was no one else that
Right.
could have understood that feeling. And this is when I met Ralph for the first time. And he came out with Andrew and, he showed me my sketches, talked me through what I felt, what I wanted to feel like on the day, what kind of bride do I want to be. And I'm an intentional person. So I wanted embroideries on my dress with words that mattered to me. And so I had hope and I had like things that my husband's name, my parents' names, a little bit of my mother-in-law's wedding dress was part of our wedding. And he did all of that and was very involved with it himself.
I love that. Also, Met Gala marriage, I feel like literally never happens.
But it's also so on brand for Nick and I. It's like so like, of course.
Entirely.
And
It
I
makes me
love I
laugh.
love Edward and when he writes about it for Vogue, he goes, what,
Yeah,
it took two assistants, something and a
Two
Jonas
assistants,
brother.
a party bus, and one Jonas.
that's
Like
all.
Yeah.
literally the headline.
Yeah, that's the
Because
headline.
again, that was such a moment. And those Met things don't happen like that
Mm-mm.
anymore. So, you gave us fashion history. On
Hmm.
that note, you were the first non-family member to wear Ralph for your wedding. With your history with the house, what
Wow.
did it mean to you? Again, just thinking about your career and everything you've done, what did it mean to you to be the first non-family bride wearing Ralph Lauren?
I mean, what a special historic statistic that is. I am one of the biggest fans of him as a person, first and foremost, and we've had a wonderful relationship so far. And I have major admiration for the brand. I always have. I think it's iconically American and it stands for everything that America stands for. But at the same time, it's so elevated and um, but yet simple. There's a
Mm.
simplicity, but it's still. So I've always had that wonderful relationship with the brand and admiration for it. So when I found out that he had only designed wedding gowns for family members, it was such an honor. And the fact that, you know, that they would take it on and not just take me on, but actually suggest making it and take so much time in thinking about what my mother wore or what the bridesmaids would wear and how that would complement my outfit or what my mother-in-law would wear. Just there was so much thought that went into it that it meant the world to both Nick and I.
I love that. Jill, I'm gonna move quickly through these
Yeah.
ones. Girl, you wear some major jewelry pieces. You've been working with Bulgari since 2021. Have you always been a fan of jewelry?
Yeah, I'm an Indian girl. If you know an Indian girl, you know she loves her jewelry. Yes, in where India, jewelry is a big, big part of our culture. It is not for just decoration.
Hmm.
Jewelry is considered um, culturally, when you adorn a woman, it's sort of a part of who she is, her identity, who she becomes. Different parts of the different kinds of jewelry we wear mean different things. So if you do a deep dive into India's relationship with jewelry, it goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Most of the world's amazing gemstones have come from India, still continue to. Bulgari has an amazing relationship with, jewelers who are artists in Rajasthan and get a lot of their pieces. Some of them I've worn, like the bigger pieces that come straight from Rajasthan in India. So, being able to work with a brand that showcases Roman excellence along with, Indian traditions is just so cool.
Yeah.
I love
Five
that.
years
And
now. Wow.
it's crazy, right?
6, yeah.
And literally, just to build off of your last answer, I love that so many of your ensembles for Bulgari events marry your heritage with a touch of just like Western glam.
Mhm.
How are you able to kind of achieve this balance? Like that
I
Miss
think,
Sohi couture outfit that you
yeah, I
wore. Oh
love
my
that
God.
outfit.
So good. So
I
good.
love that color too. Oof, the color was amazing. It's who I am, right? I've grown up both in the East and the West. I am a little bit of a result of my upbringing, which has been America and India. And I think that that's just what's natural to me. I gravitate towards a marriage of the East and the West, not to be literal, but like,
Mhm.
no pun intended. But in everything that I do, my approach is multicultural. And I think even my fashion kind of reflects that. And that doesn't just even necessarily mean just India and the States. I just love culture and I love how different cultures make people think differently and how that affects the art that you create, your heritage is a big part of who you are, anyone's in heritage and upbringing. So I get very excited to be able to bring that into the clothes I wear, the home I live in, the decisions I make.
What is one piece of jewelry you're saving for Malti?
I lost my dad in 2013, and I've inherited this beautiful emerald that he wore for most of his life. And I'm definitely holding on to that for Malti.
I love that. And on that note, how has your style evolved since motherhood? Or if it has?
I think my personal style was always just like at home, is like Adam Sandler.
I love you, literally.
I have this need to dress like him when I get home. Like he's my fashion icon for when I'm at home.
I
Loose
can envision it
shorts,
right now. The shorts and the
Yeah.
big
loose shorts,
sandals.
Hoodie.
loose big sandals,
A
or like
huge t-shirt.
huge t-shirt, sweatshirt, and that's how I walk around at home. So that's not changed ever because I've always loved that. But I think my relationship with heels has changed since I've become a mom. Like they've become shorter. I could run in 6-inch heels. Now I don't love them anymore as much. Like I have to prepare myself to wear the heels that I used to love. They've kind of been sitting collecting dust in my closet because I just grab the flats every time. Of
Right.
Jill, back to you. Thank you, my dear.
Okay, so
course.
we're at looking back. Advice first, legacy last. Life is too short to play it safe. We've covered your brother's hallway scheme to Miss World, Bollywood to Hollywood, Vogue to history making covers. I usually ask guests what advice they give to their younger selves. But last weekend at Harvard, you did something different. You said, I'm so grateful for my younger self, as she was brave and she was strong. Because of her tenacity and her ability to pull all my tears inside, put on my mascara again is the reason I can have a different definition of success today. And I forgave my younger self for the things that she did and the choices that she made that I don't agree with. But I'm so grateful to my younger self for bringing me where I am today. I mean, blown away, full on chills. It's so important for all of us to do that and to really to give her some props for getting through it and to forgive her and not give her advice on anything, you know?
Yeah.
So
She
how,
did the best she could.
yeah, how do you learn to forgive your younger self instead of constantly trying to rewrite her?
I did constantly try to rewrite her for a very long time. I tried to explain her away. I tried to explain her choices differently. But I think it's also getting older, having the time to think about your past and, therapy, uh, thousands and thousands to my therapist. But I think that, I have been able to look back and say, because I've been asked this question many, many times, what would you tell your younger self? And
Right.
I used to say, as be like, time will heal everything and it'll be okay, it'll turn out all right. But because I was so wound up, like all of us are, when you're in your teenage years or your 20s, when you're trying to make it, you're trying to figure out what this adult life holds for you. Um, you're just running and trying to do the best you can. And, now I feel like there were times I could have just said, I don't want to do this, or this is too scary, or this is embarrassing, or this is humiliating, or this hurts and I don't want it, I don't need it. Um, or I won't fight back. I won't stand up for myself because it's easier. But I did. And I did it at times where it mattered. It may have been terrifying at that time. I may have,
It was.
and it was terrifying at that time. But today I get to be able to have this conversation with you with a sense of contentment and peace in my heart with the life I've been able to build. And that's only because she took those shots.
Yep.
Yeah. She was beaten up and I'm not.
I mean, you could have me in tears right now. Okay, last question before Edward's rapid fire. You've said that growing up you didn't see people who look like you in magazines or on screen. That absence mattered. Now you are the image. Years ago you said, I don't want a career, I want a legacy. Sitting here today, what does legacy actually mean to you now?
Again, that was a different girl that said that.
Yeah. And you
I
talk about
was,
that, and it's very interesting how you talk about it too.
I didn't think about that. At that time, that's what I wanted. I wanted a legacy. And I think a legacy to me meant, I don't know, having my name on a building or something. Like what we think a legacy means is, leaving something behind. Um, I think my definition of leaving a legacy behind has changed. I want my daughter to be very proud of being my daughter. And
Wow.
I think that would be my greatest legacy is if she likes me when she grows up, if she wants to be my friend, if she thinks I'm cool, or if she's like, my mom did some shit. Like if she looks up to me, that'll be my greatest achievement.
If she talks about you the way you talk about your mom.
Yes, yes. If she can have the relationship and the admiration that I have for my mother and the relationship that my mom built with me.
Yeah.
And it requires a lot of forgiveness, that mother-daughter thing, and you'll see the story, that mother-daughter thing is real. You probably have a teenager by now. I don't even want to know.
She's 10.
Gosh,
A tween.
she's gonna be a teenager in
She's
3
10.
years.
Yeah,
She
a
was
tweenager.
born in front of me. Ooh, it's crazy. I remember when you were pregnant. It's crazy. But yeah, that mother-daughter thing is really different, and that would be my legacy,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
daughter liking me.
Okay, rapid fire. A little
That's so
different than we
beautiful.
usually do. Yeah.
Thanks.
Whose closet do you want, living or dead?
Ooh.
That's a hard one.
Living or dead made it hard. Can you pick one?
Living.
Okay, living. Um, Rihanna.
Love. What's on your
Like
fashion wish
from
list?
jewelry to clothes to
Yeah.
just everything.
Everything.
I like that, and I can see that.
Me too.
What's on your fashion wish list?
Mm, I just fulfilled my fashion wish list with this press tour right now for this year. Like I wore so
For
many
this
off the
year.
runway, 2026 cool clothes with some amazing brands, designers that are up and coming, but also established. And I was doing pirate core. I had so much. I lived my like movie fantasy, movie meets fashion fantasy, like I love cinema and cinema is my favorite thing in the world. And to be able to mix cinema and fashion together is so much fun. So I was really living my fantasy right now.
On that note, if you could play any character on screen just for the wardrobe, who would it be?
Gosh, I would play, oh, there's too many. But because I'm in action mode and having done an action movie, I would take anything from like Pulp Fiction or Uma Thurman or like Kill
Mm.
Bill, Uma
Yes.
Thurman,
That's
or even
good.
like Angelina Jolie in her Salt
Tomb Raider
meets
too.
Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
Salt, Mr. and Mrs. Smith era. Like, those Lucy Liu, even when she came out with those looks, she was fierce. Yeah.
No, you
I
looked
love it.
badass in that fight scene at the end. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
were like a sexy, like pirate badass action woman.
Thank you.
What's the last fashion purchase you made that you still love?
That I still love is such a good question. It's such a good question. That I still love. I'm constantly buying stuff for myself. That's so tough. I love everything I buy. I don't buy things I don't like. And mostly if I have something in my wardrobe that I don't really love, it's usually a gift. I'm very
Um,
decisive about what I buy. I will like what I buy.
I get that. What are your airport outfit essentials?
Definitely comfort. I like feeling put together. So my flights are international, so they're usually at like 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning. Um, so I like to, my trick is the same color. So if
Hmm.
you're doing like loose denims and a denim jacket with it, and even a t-shirt, it's comfortable, it looks put together. If you're doing sweats, the same color, same hat, maybe just like as soon as you make it monotone a little bit at the airport, it just looks elevated. You look like you're put together. You don't even have to.
That's
It could be
true.
different brands, like different whites or whatever, but it just kind of looks put together. And like in classic Edward style, a big jacket.
Love you.
Comfortable, big, gorgeous statement jacket.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's a good blanket.
Yeah, you could
You're
wear anything else inside. And I've seen you do it. You wear a statement jacket with like the most comfortable clothes inside. That's a hack.
where do you think I get them from? I
Great
literally
hack.
who's your personal style icon?
Um, my like I'm the age that I started noticing my mom's style. She was in her early 40s. And I started noticing how she would dress herself and how put together and intentional she was. And her fashion, whether it was, wearing a sari with, uh, a bun at the nape of her neck. It couldn't be higher. It had to be at the nape of her neck. And she had to have the right bindi and they had to match. And then she had to wear Dior perfume because Poison, that was her favorite. And she'd walk out like a goddess, and she'd always have sunglasses, which were like rose tinted. She just made for such a fashionable, and she drove herself. It was just like really cool. And then I remember Sundays, the weekends, my mom would always have these pants. She loved pants and a good tucked in shirt. She used to make sure she has a belt and like the right shoes. Just always put together her sunglasses, signature sunglasses. Um, she was my personal style icon growing up. I wanted to be able to express myself the way she did. I remember I went to my grandfather's house, my mom's house, and raided her closet back then and found a pair of red shoes, which were like 7 inches high, 7 inches.
Oh my
And my grandfather wouldn't let me take them, but he was like, "No, these are hers," and held on to them. But she was a stylish girly.
I love that. Same for me. Most fun photo shoot.
I have to say our Vogue shoot with Annie was so beautiful. Out. First of all, sh just shooting with her for me was like, dream scenario. And
Yeah.
she's so nice and sweet and what a leader. And she comes from a place of kindness. And we were out in the fields, and I just knew when she was standing behind that camera what that picture would look like because the light was just perfect. And we all had such a great day. We had fun together. We were laughing. We were all telling jokes. It was warm out. The outfits were amazing. Um, it was such a fun shoot.
Yeah, it was definitely the vibe, just the whole team together. It was
Yeah.
joyful.
Even
It
on
was,
set when we were doing that gold
oh,
outfit, the cover
I
outfit,
mean, those
it was
covers, the
the
red too.
pictures, the
I
light
mean,
that fell in, and everybody was on the same mission. I
yeah,
think that was so wonderful on that shoot that
yeah,
everyone involved was like,
yes,
we were on the same mission of
yes,
wanting to make that shoot look great. I've had,
yeah,
I won't lie, obviously talking to you guys, so I remember that at the front of my memory, but I've had some wonderful shoots across my career and it's just magical when you don't overthink it too much and everybody's allowed to bring their creative best. And it's not over controlled. I think when editorials happen where one person is just answerable and it's not everybody doesn't get the ability to bring their
right.
expertise, that's when the pictures turn out, I think it feels a little bit like, I don't know,
Work.
Flat.
Yeah,
work, like
yeah,
not easy, not
right.
artistic. But I love it when like, people have an opinion and it's moving and it's alive. And I feel like our shoot was alive.
Yeah, and that one, I think it was Harper's when you're laughing, that cover. I
Yes.
mean, that's what it
Yeah.
should be.
It was
Capturing
great.
a moment that's real, you know.
Yeah.
So,
All right,
sorry.
toughest question. New
Oh
York or
my
LA?
God. Why do you want to get me into trouble? This is gonna have so
Because.
many people sending me hate messages on Twitter. Because I have one, but you're asking me to say it. All right. LA now, because yeah, I know. I knew it. See, I knew it. LA now, because I live there. I've lived there for 6 years. I have my home there. My daughter goes to school there. We have our setup, and home is home. And we moved there during COVID, so now it's like 6 years. And that's the first home that Nick and I have built together as a married couple. Before that, we lived in each other's homes. I lived in New
Mm,
York, he lived in LA. He moved into my apartment, I moved into his apartment. But this was the
right.
home that we built together as a married couple. And so it has all of our like nooks and corners. Um, so LA at the moment, New York was my dream city when I was younger, but I feel like New York is like that friend that you really look up to and you want to hang out with all the time, but after a week need a break from.
I love that.
Because
Guys, don't
I
give
she's
her.
feel that way about LA. Can be
really,
annoying. She can be super annoying.
well, I don't think New York can be annoying, but she can be overbearing.
Yeah,
Like she's
that's
like a
true.
lot. You need a vacation after New York because just like so much happening. So I need to
Maybe
go back to
that's
LA and go for a
maybe I
hike.
think she's annoying because she's boring, and
Yes,
I
because
need
there's
to get.
nothing happening. You need that. Once a New Yorker, I feel like New York. New Yorkers are a special breed. You need that
Yeah.
stimulation. Like I was telling Dana the same thing. She's a New Yorker. She's worked with me for so many years now. Like you're made for it, you need it.
Yeah.
You will not be able to survive anywhere else in the
Right.
world if you're that person. But I
I
think for
tried.
me, you won't. I've known you for so many years too. You feed off that energy. But I love the quiet of LA. I like that, it has like just silences and I don't know. I'm getting older. What can I tell you?
That was a beautiful answer, though, where you guys built and found your home together. I
Yeah,
think that's great. So nobody give Priyanka any hate whatsoever. She
please
gave
don't.
two fabulous answers. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, so from your brother's hallway scheme to Miss World, from Bollywood to Hollywood, from that meet and greet at Vogue to the cover that made history, you've built something that no one has built before, a sustained, bankable presence in two of the biggest entertainment industries on earth, not as a novelty, not as a guest, as a force. I don't believe in hope. I believe in taking charge of your life, and you have at every turn. Thank you for going rogue with us today.
Oh, I love that. If there was anyone to go rogue with, it would be you.
Thank you, Priyanka. I know how
you.
crazy busy you are, and I appreciate this from the bottom of my heart.
Of course, anything for both of you. You were right there with me at the beginning, and I don't forget that ever.
Amazing. Well, we will let you go.
By the way, you did wrap out my press tour. I'm officially done.
Yay!
Congratulations. Seriously, I hope you're getting a
Yeah.
glass of champagne or
My
something.
extensions are coming off like in 5 minutes. But
Love it.
this was I wanted hair
It
the
looks so
color of
good, too.
dried blood,
Oh my God.
Oh,
right?
literally, it's so
I love
good.
it. I love
So
it.
they're
I
coming
love
off
that
right
you're
now.
I
And
love that you're
Adam
having fun with this
Sandler.
tour.
Adam
much fun.
Sandler, here I come.
Girl, I'm already in pajamas down
I
here.
love
So,
it. I love it.
Oh my
all
God.
right. It's a
Throw
party
all
on
of this
top.
away. Exactly.
Thank you again. Have
Thank you,
so much
guys.
fun. Are you here for a second or are you flying back to LA?
No,
Oh, wait,
I'm
no.
going to Paris for Fashion Week.
I
All
will see
right.
you in
I'll
Paris.
see you
I'm going to be there
there.
next week.
Okay, great. Text me when you get there. When do you get in?
Tuesday morning.
I get in. I'll be there Monday. Perfect.
Okay.
I'll see you there.
See you there.
Bye,
Okay.
Jill. I'll
Thank
see you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
See you
Edward.
soon.
Bye. See ya.
Okay. Bye. Okay, that's our show. Thanks for listening to Going Rogue. And be sure to like and subscribe. Today's show is produced by me and Maddie Rosenberg at Radio Free Rhinecliff with assistance from Maddie Kelly. Special thanks to David Vo for our great graphics and Taras Romanov for our epic theme music. See you next Friday.